Story 1. The loss. It starts with a pet, maybe. Then you cannot find your favorite cereal anymore or your favorite snack. Your go-to restaurant closes. Your favorite actor or musician dies or retires. Friends move away, or worse, they change into incompatible people, but they are still around to remind you of what you had. Your children grow up and have different priorities in life. Finally, you have the finality of losing loved ones permanently. But what really hurts is all the little losses along the way. And what is weird about it all is that there never seems to be enough new to replace the loss of the old. Story 2. When I woke up on my 40th birthday, I thought, how am I 40 when I feel like 16 was just yesterday? My daughter, who was 8 at the time, said, "Happy birthday, Mom. You're halfway to dead." The mental turmoil was crushing. Story 3. Time is speeding up progressively. Now, a year flies by in what feels like a couple of months. It's scary. It makes me wonder if my last 20 years will feel like 5. Story 4. When you realize you have more road behind you than you have ahead, and you still have so much you wanted to do, and realizing that it doesn't matter one bit. The universe owes you nothing. Story 5. I'm 39. I was on the road for work last month. I stopped at a hotel, and the entire hotel lobby was full of young 20s kids all having a ball and drinking. I thought, if I went up to my room and changed and came down here, I'd be the creepy old guy. Oh no. Story 6. Romantic relationships going badly wrong and leaving you back where you started, except this time you're probably less physically attractive and you have emotional baggage to carry around. Story 7. The past. Some have trauma, some tolerated too much disrespect, and some reminisce about individuals they could have saved if they had done something differently. The past haunts everyone, dude. I know some people are going to say, hey, get over it. However, some people have been through adversity most people can't fathom. Story 8. I have personally slowly lost my vigor for life. I know that at every turn, something will be there, ready to take from me. I have gone from wanting to fight hard for things that are right, to realizing how corrupt everything is and how I can't change it alone, so the effort is moot. Sparkly dreams fade into dull reality, and you go on autopilot. I want less and less to do with people every year. It's like withering. Story 9. Childhood trauma. If not addressed, this issue can have increasingly worse consequences for your overall well-being and ability to function in society. Story 10. The job market is just shocking and appalling. How grueling it has become for regular people to get in the door anywhere. Your qualifications mean little without knowing the right people, manipulating your resume to pass automated screens, and so on. The very top performers in any given industry then go around saying how it's all so easy if you do it right. But their lifestyles are often unreasonable to expect of all of society, given that, raising kids and stuff like that are actually important. Also, their success is often self-reinforcing, while things like extended periods of unemployment, which may be for reasons outside the applicant's control, are often seen as negatives that keep them from getting jobs. I feel like everyone knows in their heart that this situation is grueling, but some people just don't care enough to be empathetic about it. Story 11. When the older generation starts passing away, it's impactful. A grandpa passed away in 2001. It was sad, even though he had been quite mean most of his life. Then, in 2007, my sweet grandma passed away. That was profoundly sad. I found myself crying every time I thought about her. Up until 2017 when my dad passed away. Following him, his sister passed away in 2021, and then my other grandma in 2023. It was one loss after another. These losses deeply affect you. There are only 2 cousins left in that generation now. I thought we had all the historical information about our family, but there are some gaps, and now I have no one to ask. One day, none of this will matter because none of us will be here. It's quite a sobering thought. Story 12. Age and disability go hand in hand. You get silenced by disability. People say work out and stay young, but my friends have got or had Parkinson's, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, multiple sclerosis, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, cancer, etc. Exercise is good, but the people you see saying exercise keeps you young are the survivors. Survivorship bias. One thing you don't realize when younger is that disability keeps you silenced. A large amount of disabled people struggle to get out and about. If they do, it's at a massive cost to their following days. So they limit their exposure. If all your energy is used up existing, then you have none left for battling other areas of life. Story 13. Realizing how fast time actually goes by, like 1 minute you're in high school and the next, all your friends are getting married and having kids. It's kind of scary. Story 14. Nothing affects you more than biology itself. In second place, it would be the fact that bad experiences accumulate and mess with your mind as well. In third place, it's the death of more and more people in your life, making you increasingly lonely. Grandparents pass away, then parents, and eventually you may find yourself all alone. Story 15. When you're young, the future is like a staircase leading ever upwards. There's always a next step, something to achieve. But at some point, usually in your late 20s or early 30s, that staircase to the future levels out into a perpetual present. The only next step is retirement, which is like 30 to 40 years away. There's not a good word for this transition, but I think it significantly impacts a lot of people, myself included. Story 16. Yesterday I was 18, and my parents were in their 40s, and now they're in their 80s, and I won't have them much longer. And I could have been so much nicer. Story 17. You realize the people you thought of as friends are just acquaintances. I learned all about it when I was diagnosed with kidney failure. All those friends were nowhere to be found. Story 18. Not allowing your body to be loose and supple through stretching can have consequences. Your own body will hurt you if you don't allow your muscles and tendons to do their thing. Story 19. Honestly, that life gets better as you age. It was suggested again and again that once you hit 28, your life is over. You better be married with kids and have a stable career because you won't have time to switch from that point out. Total nonsense. Every year I get older, I enjoy my life more and more. I reminisce about my younger days, but I definitely don't dwell on them. I see younger people stressing out about all these things because they too feel like there's a clock controlling their life. Life is too long and subjective to think you need to figure it all out by a certain time and place. Story 20. I would say your ability to process and experience emotion. After you have been burned and let down by so many people in your life, you get a gift, which is the ability to not let things affect you anymore. However, it comes with a cost in that you also have trouble experiencing happiness and joy as your mental defense automatically assumes that it is not real or there is something hidden behind whatever it is that is supposed to make you feel happy. Story 21. Adults don't know everything. No one really knows what they're doing. We're all just trying our best and hoping it works out. To add clarity, I understand that my initial statement may suggest that all adults are incompetent or lack knowledge. That was not my intended message. What I meant to convey was that as children, we perceived adults as having all the answers, being in complete control and understanding everything. However, now that I am an adult myself and children have these expectations of me, I am fully aware of how unrealistic these expectations are because I understand how much I don't know. There are things I'm quite good at and others not so much. I just do the best I can and hope for the best. And I believe most people my age feel the same way. Story 22. At the age of 52, my brain still feels like I'm in my 20s, but my body used to disagree. After 4 months of rigorous weight and cardio training, my body is feeling better than it did in my 20s. That said, we don't live forever, and regrets can be real. Story 23. I always thought that as an adult, I would have my life together, everything figured out within reason, be married with 2.5 kids. My life is not bad, but it's not what I imagined as a child. It's neither good nor bad. I guess time moves forward whether you are ready or not, and that troubles me. Edit. Some people are really bothered by the mention of 2.5 kids. It's a statistic from the 90s referring to the average number of kids people were having. Story 24. Life passes by quickly, and over time you just begin to realize that all those things that set you back in life have compounding effects. Struggles in your early adulthood don't seem to matter when you're young, but then you're 25 or even older just getting started on real adult things like saving for a house or retirement. I didn't start making any kind of decent money until I was 28, and it feels like many ships have sailed financially. Story 25. Being committed to an unfaithful partner and staying with them, hoping they will someday show you that they have respect for you and your relationship by cutting ties with all the people with whom they interrupted your relationship. But instead, they just shift the goalposts until you are emotionally crippled and then expect you to figure out how to fix being damaged by them. Story 26. One of the things that really messes with you as you grow older is realizing how indifferent, selfish, and sometimes cruel people can be, often for no real reason at all. It is like you start to see that a lot of suffering, injustice, or pain isn't always born out of necessity, but because people choose to be that way, whether out of ignorance, selfishness, or just a lack of empathy. You notice it in small things, the way people cut each other off, don't consider others' feelings, or refuse to help when they easily could. But it is also in the bigger picture: wars, exploitation, environmental destruction. You realize a lot of the harm in the world doesn't have to happen, but it keeps happening because people are often more focused on what benefits them in the short term, even if it comes at the cost of someone else's well-being or the future. And what makes it even harder is how normalized it is, how society has built systems that encourage people to look out for themselves first, even if it means ignoring or trampling others. It really makes you question humanity and wonder if we will ever truly grow beyond this cycle. That awareness is tough to carry as you age. Story 27. My brain still thinks I'm 25. Every time I go for a run, my brain tells me to take off like I did back then, and I start off at a 6-minute pace right up until my lungs explode. Story 28. A lot of negative comments here, so I'll add a positive one. As you grow older, you realize that you are ultimately responsible for yourself and yourself alone. That doesn't mean things are always your fault, but ultimately, you need to take responsibility for them. In some ways, this might be seen as depressing, but in many other ways, it's a very liberating idea. It gives you a sense of freedom and self-control in life. Story 29. The realization of just how mundane it all is, and this is it. Our one shot at consciousness is spent on something so unimaginably boring. My gift of sentience is spent wage slaving, consuming media, messing around with hobbies that will never fill the void, eating, using the bathroom, cleaning. And that is all there is. Story 30. As a woman, I have a tough time with aging. We are kind of forced into believing that our value decreases with age. I know it's shallow and makes me feel guilty, but I'm terrified that I won't be perceived as beautiful, especially by my partner, as time passes. I see the undeniable beauty of age, but I know many people don't see it that way. Story 31. I was doing quite well eating mostly junk food and consuming way too much sugar until my stomach and digestion became extremely messed up in my late 20s. Story 32. Seeing young professional athletes. I'm 21 now. It's crazy watching 17-year-olds who are incredible at soccer or 19-year-olds in the NBA. I feel like you don't understand how crazy that is until you get to that age. Story 33. I have 15 summers left. If I'm lucky, health-wise. Enjoy what you have. Appreciate all the people in your life, even the difficult ones. Don't hold on to regrets. Be nice. It's so easy to be a nasty person. Being a good person takes effort. I have no patience for foolishness, but I tolerate and humor them, and the feedback is amazing. Bottom line, don't be unpleasant. Be nice. Story 34. Apologies. So much regret. Nothing you do will ever be able to be redone from the beginning. The ghosts of your past existence are all that is left to you.